There we go. Try again. Mike is now unmuted. I'm,
It wouldn't be a Friday without the mic not
no,
working,
it
would
would.
it?
I don't think I've ever managed a single video without some technical hiccup. I've got a bone to pick with Miss Brereton. He's late again. She says it's 7:54. Okay, hell, I can put up with bloody comments like that, but I mean, seriously.
Women's prerogative, really.
Ah, dearie me. Yeah, yeah. So anyway, Dale, how are you?
Fine, busy. Normally, I'm not a busy person. Winding down, really, towards Christmas, because as you know, most people know it's just me and my mum. And last year, my mum went off to my sister's, so I was by myself. But I haven't even done much Christmas shopping, much. And I've got a ton of things to do before Monday, and then I've got a couple of days at work, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then I'm off. So it's going to be a busy weekend, I
All
think.
right. So are you working till next Thursday? You said, and then you're off
Yeah,
Friday.
yeah,
Yeah, and then is that you back till you back on the fourth, fifth,
yes, yeah. It's
fourth?
the. I think it's the third. It's after. It's the. I think we get
Ah,
a.
it's
I think we get a Monday off because of the New Year being at the weekend. So
yeah, yeah. I'm working till next Friday, and then I'm off right through until fourth, I think it is. So it's a few days off anyway. So before we start, what's tonight's feature? What is that? Is that about Spider
well,
Man? Is it?
it is, and I went to the pictures today to see it. So the new film that's at the cinema at the moment.
So wait a minute, you're showing a looking just released film on my stream.
No, no, this is the last film that Obviously, this one is Far From Home. The new film is called No Way Home.
I was going to say, fuck me,
So
you'll get my bloody channel taken down, man. Christ Almighty.
it's on BBC One. Hey, I know that there's a TV license thing involved, but if you're watching it on YouTube and I've got a TV license, I can't see how that's a problem. To be quite honest.
Going to tell me one reason apart from obviously watching that's more entertaining than listening to you and I talking bollocks. Are you one of these people that come in and as soon as you come in you put the TV on and then you go away and do stuff?
Yeah.
Uh, that used to drive me fucking insane. I could never understand that. My missus would say, "Oh, turn the TV." I says, "You're not even watching it. I'll just leave it on." What's the point of it being on? Christ.
Well, it's just sometimes I'll listen to it. I mean, my mother at the moment, she does crosswords, and it drives me nuts because I'm watching telly. The darts are on, right? She loves her darts, watches the darts,
Nothing
right?
wrong with darts.
Right? But she's doing a crossword at the same time, and I'm going, do you even know what leg they're in at the moment? And it used to drive my dad mental. He said, I'm going in the other room to watch it because it's no point watching it with you. And it's still nothing watching it in another room.
I have to say that's my pet hate. See if I'm like with somebody or whatever or in their company whatever, and you're talking and they're like, yep, yeah. So anyway, I was yeah, and then like that.
But it's one of those things
You're
where
like,
I think it's developed over time because I used to have trouble sleeping and I still do. And if I've watched a program over and over and over again, it doesn't matter that I can't see what's on the screen. I know exactly what's going on by just listening. And I'll know the script inside and out on a number of things. And I can fall asleep because in my mind, I know exactly what I'm watching.
mm,
And just listening. And that's why podcasts are so interesting to me. When you do your podcast and you put them up on Spreaker or whatever it is, I can imagine you talking, you know, and so it's great. So I do like that.
Mr. Maxwell, thank you very much, sir.
Does that
I
mean I
love
get?
you.
Does that mean I get a fiver? Thanks.
I love. Going to shut up for a second. I love you too, man. No, seriously, Jamie. Thank you very much. That is very. As I says, I don't mention money on my channel. I did monetize it and upset a few people in the way, but the reason I do it is because I do pay about 30 quid a month for StreamYard and from a podcast thing. And I just thought at the end of the day, if somebody wants to give me a couple of quid towards it, great. You know what I mean? So thank you very, very much, Jamie. That is much appreciated.
No,
Anyway,
I just want to say thank you to you as well, actually, because you've mentioned it a number of times. 30 quid and all of that sort of stuff. If any of you guys can think about 30 quid leaving your account every month, and what you're doing is that you're giving enjoyment to people out there, chatting to your friends, all of that sort of stuff, sharing your screen, you're imparting knowledge. And at the end of the day, even if it's just, I can't understand the fuck word what he's talking about because he's a Scottish bastard, I still think it's worth a fiver or whatever it is. And I'm always putting, a couple of quid in, or doing a coffee or something. You know what I mean?
The way I see it, Dale, is, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, the main Meister thing is, it's my hobby, and it's brought a lot of people. I know it sounds a bit kind of like Jeremy Kyle, not Jeremy Kyle. It sounds a bit. What was that American version of Jeremy Kyle? Jerry Springer. It sounds a bit Jerry Springer, but it's brought a lot of people together. I think we all have a bit of a laugh. I mean, a couple of weeks ago is proof that you can have a bunch of people online, and then when you get together, it proves that we're good mates. It's a bunch of mates at the end of the day. Excuse me very much. And so yeah, it's a hobby for me, but it's good fun. I get out probably more. Well, I would say I definitely get out more off the channel than I put in. Saying that, I know I do. Well, maybe not quite recently. I don't put a lot of effort into it. I can look at any of my channel, any of my videos. You'll go, fuck me. It's like bog rolling double-sided sticky tape. But no, I mean it's like anything. It's like anything. I mean, I always look upon like donating to a channel, whatever is. It's like the equivalent of, you go and watch, you go to wherever it is, you go to Glasgow or Edinburgh, whatever, and you in the summertime you go to the Edinburgh Festival and you see all these people juggling fire and telling jokes and doing all this stuff, and some of you go, "Look, that was really, really funny. There's a couple of quid," and it's there is no pressure, It's, as I said, I would never. I'm not, and people will go, "Ah, yeah, yeah." He said that about my monetization. I wouldn't do Patreon because I don't. I just don't really believe in it. I don't think it works for some people. It doesn't work right for me. I don't want people to think. I just don't like the idea. It's a bit like, you could almost say the same analogy to like a mate that you see in real life and he comes up to your house every Thursday. You could say, well, he gets a lot out of coming up to your house every Thursday to have a bit of a gibber or a gabber, and if he said, "There's £2 because I appreciate you letting me come in your house," you wouldn't accept it. For this, as I said, yeah, I do. Like any hobby, most hobbies cost money. My hobby costs £32 plus my broadband.
Yeah.
My broadband does get absolutely hammered with a certain small person through that bloody wall. So I do get use out of broadband for other things, but it's great. It's yeah.
I've got to make an apology because apparently there's quite a few Scottish listeners, and I do apologise to anybody from that's in Scotland. It's not your fault. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, somebody's asked me what my favourite C64 game is.
I completely missed that. Where's that about?
Colin Gregory.
I can't even see that. It doesn't matter, right? Okay, you've spotted it.
Yeah,
go for it then. There's your mum, Dale. There's your mum.
Mission.
Evening, Mrs. Dale. How are you?
She's wishing you a very happy Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. See ya.
Now bog off.
See you later.
See you later. So it's the game that you don't get on with. Actually, it's Impossible Mission. I will still put that game on, but I do like Parallax. Don't know what it is about Parallax. Parallax is one of those ones where I have to be in the right mood. But if I wasn't playing Parallax, it'd be Whizball. If that helps anybody in understanding my sort of like repertoire of games.
Yeah, no arguments from Wisball. Why do you like Impossible? God, I was going to do a Sean Connery with Impossible Mission, Miss Moneypenny. Why do you like Impossible Mission?
I think it goes back to that day that I first loaded it. It was so stark in your face. Wow, that's impressed me. The animation, the running, the walking, the speech. And then of course I tried to play the game and it was like, what the hell's going on? What the hell do you do this? What the hell's all this icon-y stuff that's going on at the bottom? And then I slowly worked it out. And then it was a harder game when I worked it out because I was actually having to play the game for real and try and get those pieces, that you were trying to get and work it all out. And you had and the difficulty with that is you had no guide whatsoever on what this picture was supposed to look like, and they all, if you've ever remember it, they merged over the top of each other and all sorts of stuff. But
what
I
what are you trying to actually build? What is it meant to? What is the picture you're trying to build?
it is a picture, but like I said, I don't play it an awful lot. I've only ever completed it once, and then that's the trouble with the game, because I will still play it. I'd love to complete it again, but I'm not drawn for me to put it on right now. I'm not going to leave this stream at the end and go, oh yeah, I fancy playing Impossible Mission. And that's the difference between that and Whizball, where sometimes I'll watch someone play it and I'll go, oh, I could just do over 5 minutes on that. You don't get that with Impossible Mission, because Impossible Mission is much more of a drawn-in game where you know that you've got to complete it. There's no fun in running around getting all the objects and all of that sort of stuff if you know you're not going to get to the end and do it. Do you know what I mean? Whizball, you finish your lives, you die, and it's up to you whether you want to play it again. You know what I mean? So Whizball is much more of my go-to game.
Yeah, I mean, Lacosa, we did obviously multiple videos, and I think his favourite game was Impossible Mission, and it's a game that it's not going to be up there with Rainbow Islands, obviously, because I just don't like that game. Full stop. Which I'm not going to go into in this video, but I mean, Impossible Mission. Yeah, I mean, the very first time I saw that, when it finished when it finished loading, you could not fail to be impressed. I mean, even now, if you put it on, it wasn't just speech. It was said. It had an accent, and it had obviously a proper voice actor doing the voice, and it was incredible, absolutely incredible. The animation is, I think, they've definitely nicked the animation from Summer Games.
Yeah.
When the wee guy runs out at the start and the thingy, but fair play to them. It's their own sort of IP. Technically, it's a masterpiece, and then you get into the actual main levels, and it's just little. It looks like a berserk maze, but instead of walking like that, you're actually landing, running about on the walls. The robots look nice, but they just move up and down and they spin. They go zzz, zzz, and you jump and you pick up things, and you got this stupid bug fucking balloon that goes round, and I don't know, and it's too hard as well. I don't know. I just think they missed a trick. I mean, here's the thing: if you were to, is it the gameplay that gets it for you, or is it the whole experience? And here's a question for you: if you were to strip back, never mind any of the speech, there's no speech. I mean, try and imagine the graphics replaced with Pitfall, the little Pitfall guy running, and there's none of this. It's just bleep 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 bleep. Imagine it like that. Would you still play the game, or is it because it's a beautiful game and it's got a nice gameplay?
That's what I'm saying. If you've never played the game before, there is an intense wanting to learn the mechanic to play the game, because back then I was a younger person. my scope of what games were out there was a smaller field of games. So of course I played Pitfall and played that to death. So if we're talking about Impossible Mission, when I first loaded it, I wanted to play that game and I wanted to finish it. There was an urge, a real urge for me to finish this game, not just because it was it looked impressive and it sounded impressive. I really wanted to actually. There was a fun in leaping about. You had a somersault and all of this sort of stuff, and a push forward to search the stuff. It was like James Bond. It was like, wow, this is quite good. And you could say the same about Mario. If you look at Mario through the ages, I mean, he still leaps from left to right. He's still jumping over the same things and hopping and skipping and jumping. So that's the enjoyment, isn't it? Is the platform jumping? Is the getting from one place to another? Well, Impossible Mission, it was the jumping, the leaping, the finding the stuff. It's just that we get that just gets boring if you're not playing the game properly, and that's why I'll always go to Whizball, because Whizball is a totally different beast, and it needs to be looked at differently as well. Take it like this: I don't have an urge at all to play Frankie Goes to Hollywood. I couldn't care less if I never loaded that game again. I don't know. It looked nice. It sounded okay, but I'd put Impossible Mission over Frankie Goes to Hollywood every time, because there's something enjoyable about doing the leaping, rather than walking about and seeing the screen change and seeing the graphics change. Different, but they're both complex, long games, aren't they? You don't just pick up Frankie Goes to Hollywood to play for a quick 5 minutes. So it fits into that same. It's a bit of a complex game that you got to learn. But
it's interesting. Just again, Lacosa, one of his, he loved Frankie Goes to Hollywood as well, so it's interesting. Yeah. But then he liked kind of complicated C64 games that required a bit of kind of involvement, and I think that's where I think the fact that I detest with a passion games that require a lot of thinking. I've never been a fan of games that require having to craft things. And I mean, I loved like the original Zelda on the Super Nintendo, where you've got to earn you get so many coins, and then you buy something, and then you get to go through into a new area, and then you find something, and then you eventually buy the shield and buy this. I like the idea of upgrading things, because it's like a reward system. But this about having to collect things, pick up a stick, pick up a piece of string, and then you make a bow, and then after 3 or 4 shots, when you're taking on a fucking big pack of zombies, it says, "Oh, your thing's about to break." I'm like, I can't be bothered with that. So the fact that I still hate these games, when I look back, even go back 30 years, 40 years, games that required any real lateral thinking, nah. I'm out. I suppose at the end of the day, it's like not everybody's into the same music, not everybody's into the same films. I suppose it's like video games. Just because we're video gamers doesn't mean we're all going to like the same video games.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I will say this as well. That my answer was purely me going back in time and thinking I'm back in 1984, back in 1985. And if I'm back in 1984 and 1985, I would have said that 70% of my collection were pick up and go games, and there was only 30% of them that were long games.
Yeah.
Right? So what I'm trying to say is, there is sometimes in a year or in a period of time, like 3 months, I'd like a long game, because I know that for the next 2 months there's going to be a slew of arcade conversions or pick up and die very quickly. So I looked forward to an Elite coming out, or an Impossible Mission coming out, or whatever, because there wouldn't be that many of them that I'd be interested in anyway. There'd be something about it that doesn't suit, my game style. So, and I had no end of shoot 'em up games or platform games or whatever. So they broke up that, I wouldn't call it monotony, but it breaks up that type of game. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I was saying Impossible Mission sticks out, because it was a game I put a lot of time and effort in. The shoot 'em up ones, I could mention no end of them, and I probably played them longer if you count up the minutes and hours that I played shoot 'em ups. I probably played them longer than Elite.
Mm-hmm.
But Elite stands out, doesn't it? As if you're a fan of Elite, you'd go, that was my number one game because you spent so many hours in it, so your nostalgia value is higher. So
Mm-hmm.
Impossible Mission was just one of those ones where I'm saying, yeah, I put in a considerable effort into that. Elite probably a lot more. If I think about it, actually, Elite would probably be my go-to game.
Yeah, well,
But,
I played a lot of Elite. Sorry, just Jamie, listen, buddy. Seriously, there's fucking hell. Even more for Thursday night. This is my limit, but you need compensation for that nonsense. Have a good weekend. Both Godspeed. Thank you, Jamie. Honestly, that is more than generous. There is no expectation for that, but thank you.
Someone mentioned earlier that £1.50 has got to go to my mother. So
I just saw that.
Yeah, thank you so much.
yeah. And I would appreciate Miss Brereton. Never mind being your mum's bloody agent. Go and do me a favour. Go and move that settee so your mum can't come back in again.
Yeah, I've got to
okay,
go.
At this rate, that all Jamie's money will be away.
Actually, you can just see past the door. There's a load of canisters. I don't know. They're like stuff. That's all full of films.
What, the other side of that door?
Yeah, you see all those little carry handle type things.
Yeah.
Every single one of those is films.
It looks like your mum came out a cupboard. I thought your mum bloody hiding in that cupboard or something.
That takes you to the kitchen. So.
Jesus, right. Listen, sorry, there's been a couple of questions. Yeah, I think there's been a couple of questions. Yes, Steve was asking, when you get your Mr. Al, what system games will you be adding first? What systems will I be adding? I'm actually looking forward to. I know we can say this because Panther's not here. Non-laggy MAME games. I know that's I've already. I know that's not a thing. The bloody Raspberry Pi does lag on modern TVs unless you're prepared to fuck about with it, and that's the bottom line. No, I'm like, I sold. Put it this way, I sold my what the fuck is it called again? My Spectrum Next. Sold that a couple of weeks ago, and the money I got for it will allow me to buy a Mister. So I've sold something that I never ever use to something that if I use twice a week, there you go. It's been worth it. And I think for me, I'm hoping, I'm really looking, hopefully in the next couple of years, to move house. And the fact that I've got all this shit behind me, I've got so much stuff, it's quite daunting. And I do realise that as I'm kind of getting on a bit, I've got over there, I don't know how many, probably about 150 Xbox 360 games. I've got the same again in PlayStation 2. I've got all these games, DS games, Vectrex games, Mega Drive games. They're all just taking up space. I couldn't tell you the last time I went out and actually took them. So for me, I've never been a collector. Yeah, I do buy things, but collecting to me is saying somebody that says, right, I want to have all 150, every Dreamcast region NTSC game. Then they buy things just because they want to build up a collection. I've never been about that. For me, it's about getting a game so I can play it. I've got SD solutions, cartridge solutions for all these. I don't need to look at these anymore. In fact, I've got under there behind me, I've got I must have about 25 of these little LCD games. It's cost me a bloody fortune. I'll tell you, when I sold about, must have been about 20 of them. In fact, it was 2014. It's funny how, as you get older, you think something, it was only a couple of years ago, and then somebody says, no, it was 8 years ago. It's like in Facebook, you get a memory, and you're like, I remember that. Fucking 7 years ago. Holy shit. So I actually got rid of I bought a lot of these. I bought them, must have been about 2013. And at that point, you could go on eBay, fucking $9.99. I'll have some of that. You know what I mean? You're buying them for like cheapest chips. Now, people are advertising them for like £150, £300. Just stupid. But that was the one collection thing that I got rid of, and I did regret it. I really did regret it. So now I've built them all back up again, and they're all sitting under that little table. And what I want to do is I want to put them out, and I want to put them on my shelves. So yeah, I'm going to move stuff out and replace it with stuff. But getting back to Steve, yeah, I'm looking forward to getting the Mister, because I'm going to plug it in there under in my CRT Sony Trinitron 32-inch doohickey, and yeah, it'd be nice. I don't think Zach Paul's in the stream tonight, but he's the chap that's going to be building me one. I know one of my mates, Craig, he's already got one. So what cheeky bugger has just given me £4.49? Is that Batman? Is it?
Yeah.
Thank you very, very much, Squire. Thank you. That is very, very nice. Much appreciated.
Mr. Wayne, yes, thank you
That
very
is
much.
so. Fuck, I'll need to get your mother on the channel more often, Dale. Fucking hell.
Brought a bit of glamour.
Jesus, aye, bit of eye candy to the channel. Here again, I suppose £4.49 to get to watch a film. If you could just move your head to the side a wee bit, then it's no bad value.
There you go. Mysterio's
Anyway,
doing his bit.
I've never actually answered the question. What system games will you add in first? Yeah, it's good. Of course, even though I've got a Spectrum and I've got a Commodore 64, it's going to be the Commodore 64. It's going to be the Spectrum. I think I'm looking forward to adding systems that I've never really had the chance to use. Games that, for whatever reason, are a faff to load. Like, I mean, I've got an Amstrad. I've got an Amstrad CPC, whatever it is. But as we know, the Amstrad came with the cassette thing and all that. I think there are storage solutions for the Amstrad. I've not really looked into them, but it would be great having it on a simple little device. Bring up the menu, boof, target Renegade, there you go. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting it. At the end of the day, if I don't use it, I'll sell it. You know what I mean? It's one of these things. So yeah, I don't know, Steel. Probably when I get any of these kind of new emulatory things, I say, right, I'm only going to put a select few games. And before I know it, it's got time to copy, 4 hours and 32 seconds. It's like 5 million. You get a little percentage sign. Have you ever actually thought, how much time have you spent in your life, Dale, staring at a percentage screen?
Oh,
just
God.
waiting for something to happen, whether it was installing Windows back in the day, it's copying files. Fuck me, I must have lost about 6-7 years of my life doing that shit.
I used to say that my gravestone would probably have buffering or something written on it. You know what I mean? Because all I can think of is that bloody blue bar with the little squares. Because I used to defrag drives. If you remember rightly, if you in the old days, it was like defrag your drive, it'll make your machine faster, right? And I'd go defrag, and it was like, now go away for about 2 hours, because it's going to put everything in alphabetical order or whatever, in a proper structured order, and it'd be like, oh, and I'll just see a bar going across little squares, and half my life has been that. And then of course, remember, we came from a time where it was AOL and dial-up modems and all of that sort of stuff. So progress bars. I always used to make a joke and say that's Microsoft minutes, by the way. So go away for about 45 minutes.
Yep.
Because there's no way is that 2 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, you've got three times. You've got real time, you've got Microsoft time, and then you've got film movie time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Somebody
asked right at the top, by the way, because the questions are going by quite fast now. What's your favourite film, Al? Now, I think I know what it is, and I think it begins with P, but I'm going to let you answer it, just in case I'm wrong.
My favourite film, that is a bloody tough one. I mean, when somebody asks me a question about what's your favourite whatever, I always think to myself, if I could only listen to, watch, or play, that's the only one you can ever get to play or listen to or watch ever again. What one would I want? Yeah, I know you. I know you've already told people. Yeah, it would have to be planes, trains, and automobiles.
I was
It's
right.
just, it's just it ticks all the boxes. I, anytime I've seen me going downstairs, thinking, right, I've got a night to myself. I'm going to watch a film. I go onto Netflix. I go onto whatever it is, and I'm like, nah, fuck it, I'll just watch planes, trains, and automobiles. I mean, I'll give you an example. About 2, 3 weeks ago, I was fanning about with my Oculus Quest, because one of my mates has got one, and all he uses it for is watching films. And I mean, I've tried it a few times, and it is impressive. So I was downstairs and I put it on. Okay, now I'll just watch this planes, trains, and automobiles. Like in 2 hours later, I watched the entire film. It's just the characters. You can't help but like the characters. There's a lot of compassion. The comedy between the two guys is just it's brilliant.
Yeah,
I
John.
love both. I love both Steve.
We miss John Candy an awful lot. I think.
I,
Really.
I know people. I mean, you don't like a film. You don't like a group because the guy. You don't say, "Oh, I love fucking Iron Maiden" because Brian Johnson's a lovely guy. But John Candy, there's just the character that he plays in the films. I always think that's the type of person he would have been in real life. I do think he would have been a nice guy in real life. I don't think he'd have been the type that would have just sort of like looked past you, whatever.
Del
I don't
Griffith.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I just it's my favorite. It's my go-to film if I'm pissed off, if I want cheered up, whatever. I mean, I don't know how many times I've watched it. I mean, there's so many other films that I love, but if I was to watch just one film and that was the only film I could ever see again, it would be. In other words, if I was about to get the electric chair and they gave me one last request, it would have to be. I would obviously go for fucking The Hobbit or The Twin Towers because that's like 3 hours.
Yeah, that'll delay it, won't it? Yeah, can I watch
As
the
long as I can
trilogy? Can I watch the trilogy, please?
as long as I can. Or what's that? My brother-in-law bloody he persuaded me to buy a film and I've never actually watched it. Is it? It's all about the American Civil War, the generals and something. What's it called?
Oh,
Something generals. It's all about this. There's 2 films, and I think they're like epic 3, 4 hour films or something. I don't know, but
right.
yeah, it would be planes, trains,
War
and
and Peace or
automobiles.
something. Was it War and
Oh,
Peace or
fuck
something?
knows what it is. I don't know. How about yourself, Dale? It being a bit of a Barry Norman. This is going to be a bit of a tough one for you, or is it
Well,
quite easy?
yeah. I mean, you couldn't really ask a harder question to somebody that's very film orientated like I am. But I'm not a snob or anything, and I have my reasons. But I don't know if many people would know this film. It's popular. It's known. Some Like It Hot. Do you know Some Like It Hot?
Yep, with Jack Nicholson. Oh no! Sorry, Jack Lemmon.
Jack Lemmon. Yeah. Now, I'm a big Jack Lemmon fan.
Yeah.
A very, very big Jack Lemmon fan.
I remember watching that with my mum and dad, or probably my dad actually, as a kid, and I thought it was hilarious, and I must have been about 10 years old. Jack Lemmon, what's the name? What's Tony
Tony Curtis.
Yeah, and of course Marilyn Monroe.
Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
But it's one of those films that it's just so weird. I'd never seen anything like it where there was a big gangstery type Valentine's massacre it's supposed to be, and then they have to run away and they dress up in drag. I just thought that's hilarious. Thought it was absolutely brilliant. And then of course Tony Curtis does that strange thing of trying to do a Cary Grant impression. And he says he's Shell Oil and all of this sort of stuff. And Jack Lemmon is there, and he's going to get married. So, I mean, it's just one of those things where I can't put my finger on it, but I can watch it. It's a Billy Wilder film. Billy Wilder is absolutely fantastic as well. But it's Jack Lemmon. Jack Lemmon to me is one of my all-time faves. I can watch him in Walter Matthau. The Odd Couple and the Grumpy Old Man and all of those sort of films. It's just that they've got that wit against each other. Do you know what I mean? And Planes, Trains and Automobiles, I think what I like about it as well is it's a little bit like Only Fools and Horses, where there's a little bit of a emotional element to it. So when Del Griffiths is talking about, I've been on the road for about 5 years and I miss my wife, and you find out his wife's died. He's actually
spoiler.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Well, I don't think it's much of a spoiler when it's about 30 years old. It's not like I'm going to tell you what the end of the new Spider-Man film
I'm
is.
just about to watch the Titanic, so for fuck's sake, no spoilers. Anyway,
yeah. Don't have a whiskey on the rocks. Oh, sorry, damn, I've given that away, haven't I? But I told you my joke, didn't I? I told you I used to go to the pictures every Friday, and I used to go with a group of friends, and we used to come out of the movies, and then go into the pub and then talk about it. And we had this one person. Now I don't know if he did it to wind us up, but he acted thick. So we'd come out of Forrest Gump, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned it before, and he'd say something like, "How many feathers do you think they threw out of the airplane to make it land at his feet?" And he'd say things like that. But there was another friend of mine. His name was Kelly. Yeah. He'd walk. This is at the time when queues were outside the picture houses, the cinema, and we'd go and see the first showing, So I remember we went and saw Turner and Hooch. I don't know if you remember Turner and Hooch.
Yeah, I saw that in the pictures. Yeah.
So he'd walk past the whole crowd and say, "Oh, wasn't it a shame when the dog died?" And you could hear him in the crowd going, "Fuck's sake, now we know what's happening," or something like that. And he'd walk, Rocky 4 was on, and he'd say, "Oh, so Rocky won again." You know what I mean? And he'd just do a general conversation while we're walking past the queue. It used to drive me mad because I'd just be so embarrassed for those people, But anyway, I've talked enough. You carry on.
Yeah, right. I'm just having a quick having a quick look for any. Right, Steve's asking, name your favourite game that features bats or a bat. Now, I presume you're not talking about a cricket bat, because if that's the case, then cricket is the worst fucking sport ever invented. It's not even a sport because they bloody break for lunch. I mean, seriously.
I'm going to cheat. I'm pretty sure there's a bat in Ghosts and Goblins.
Is there?
I'm pretty sure there is.
Is there now?
Prove me wrong.
A bat.
Is it going to be Cauldron?
I was no. Yeah. I mean, there's not a bat. No, there's not a bat in Forbidden Forest. I'm trying to think.
No.
I'm trying to think of any bloody game that's got a bat.
Whatever the Batman. Then you just got to name one of them, haven't you? Look, Batman Asylum. There you are. It's got bats in it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm thinking like, even did any of the Hunchback games have bats? I think maybe the sequel. What was it called? There was a sequel to Hunchback by Ocean. I can't remember what that was called.
Well, isn't one of your favourite games Castle of Terror? And that's got a bat in it. In fact, it's got a pretty well-known bat in it. It's Dracula.
I suppose. Nah, that's probably the best answer you're going to get, actually. Yeah. I can't think of any games with bats offhand apart from the obvious Cauldron. But as we know, it's not a favourite game of mine. It could have quite easily been a brilliant game, bar for the fact that it was impossible.
And what an interesting guy that interview that you had.
Richards, ace.
And knowing that he liked first-person shooters blew my mind, because I wouldn't have thought that of him. Looking at him, I went, seriously, this guy's Call of Duty and all of that sort of stuff. So you got some very interesting things from that interview.
Cracking bloke. Just incidentally, I mean, it is retro gaming released. I heard that sadly Jeff Minter's mum passed away this week.
Oh no!
Yeah,
no, I didn't know that. I haven't been keeping an eye on the ball, I have to say.
Yeah, I think something niggles. Wait a minute. One of my mates' father's passed away now. I'm trying to think. She was either late 80s or was she 92? I think she was late 80s. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what she passed away with, but yeah, I mean, she's an integral part of. Because I messaged Richard on Facebook because obviously he had mentioned. I thought it was quite funny how he was talking about when he joined. He was taking over. The guy was his pal was going on holiday and he wanted somebody to fill in for the job, but he didn't want somebody that wouldn't give him the job back again, so he gave it to Richard. And he
Yeah.
said that he was there in this shop, and then Jeff Minter's mum popped in with some games.
A big box of Lavasoft games, yeah. I
that was
remember him
that was
saying that.
that was how they rocked back in the early 80s. Do you know? Just think when you talk about the old days, not even just. Well, we'll keep it. It's such a big subject. Keep it to computer games, but I don't think you can ever overstate, or I can't overstate how fortunate and lucky I was to be around at the very, 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 very beginning.
Very, yeah. I mean, like both of us, we all got our grandstand Pong machines. I don't think yours was grandstand, but it might have been Binatone or
It was a
one of the
Binatone that
variants. One of the variants. And of course, that was my first look at them. Do you know what I mean? Okay, I might have had a few computers before you did, because I told you I had an Atari 2600 and I even had a ZX80. So, I had a number of machines before I
doesn't
had
matter.
a VIC-20 and a Commodore 64. But it's just that I saw a steady increase in quality is what I'm trying to get at. So I you don't see that steady increase anymore. I think it's plateaued a little bit. The games are all on rails as far as I'm concerned a little bit now. So my enjoyment and my nostalgia value is always the 80s, and it probably always will be. A little bit of the 90s, but if you were to ask me games in the 2000s and so forth, I've got less to comment about them. There's obviously there's standing out games. I'm just saying that I can bat a load of names off in certain eras and just go this, and each one was a knockout. Do you know what I mean? So
I think when you think about it, Dale, when I was lad, it was you watched the TV, you went to the cinema, and that was it. And then suddenly this machine appeared. I mean, I did see a Pong machine way back at Edinburgh Airport, and I kind of looked at it and I thought I didn't really know what it was, and I didn't get excited when I saw it. But when I first walked in for my judo lesson, I think it was a Thursday night, I had my little white judo suit on. I went in, and you go through the rotating door, and I was about to go straight into the changing rooms, and I turned to the right, and I just heard all this sort of noise, and over and above it, you just heard the thump, 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 thump. I'm like, what the hell is that? And then I turned around, and there's this gigantic space thing throwing a big massive laser, and I'm like, what is that? And it turned out to be Space Invaders, and suddenly, wow, this they're playing a TV. They're actually playing a TV, and they're moving this. They're moving this kind of gun along the bottom, and suddenly to go from just something that was it was a passive thing to something that suddenly you actually interacted, and you could move something on the TV, and that was a massive, massive thing. It was just huge. And then obviously, so that was the big. We went for like fuck all to boom, and that was amazing. And then over the subsequent years, yeah, we had you had your Atari 2600. Now I was never lucky enough to get one. I would have you could not believe how long I used to dream about it. I mean, I've told this story before, and this is absolutely true. I had my granny, my granny, God bless her, bought. It's funny. She bought. I mean, my granny would have been. My granny was 105 when she died. She died in 2013, so that would make me. What would that be? 8 years ago, so I would be 46.
74.
She died about 30. Look, it doesn't matter. She must have been about 70. She must have been about 70 years old, and she bought a Pong machine. And I went through, as we did, on a Friday night with my mum and dad, my two sisters, to see my granny and my granda. And she's like, Jimmy, go and show the bairn. Now, a bairn, if you're not from Edinburgh, a bairn is a Scottish word for child.
Right.
Glasgow, you're a Wayne. In Edinburgh, it's a bairn. Jimmy, that was my granddad. Go and show the bairn what you've bought. And he brought through this. My granddad was one of these guys. He was a lovely man. He would start laughing before he'd even start talking. He would come through chuckling, holding this thing, and I didn't know what it was. And he took it out and he plugged it in the TV. And, like, oh, and then he switched it on and turn that, and you're moving this thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was it. I was like, wow. And then, of course, got to about 7:30 at night, and like, come on, we need to get going now. Oh, what to stay. And then my granny's like, Jimmy, go and give the beer and let him take it with him. So I got to take this thing home, and yeah, it was epic for a very, very short time because I got bored shitless with it. The problem with the Pong machines were it wasn't the fancy dancy one with the light gun or whatever it was, the technology they used. It was the one that had squash. Squash was basically Arkanoid with like fuck all to hit, other than return the ball. You had, and it was horizontal as well, so you were hitting. Yeah, you were. I think I'm trying to think. I think your bat was always on the right, and you were hitting to the left. I think you were. Anyway.
Yeah, mine had, I think, football on it. It's like, what's football then? It's an extra couple of bats.
Yeah, it was. Football was like two squash courts side to side, and then you had an extra bat. You had one at one side, and then you had like the attacker, and you had the defender. So that was like
if the bat hit one of the back people and it hit one of the middle ones, it would come off at a tangent and it would throw everything off because it wouldn't actually bounce back on you. It would actually go through you and come off at an angle. So.
I mean, I think there was only about maybe 5. You had about 5 angles. You had like acute, and it wasn't obtuse. I can't remember. You could just flick it between 45 degree and it would come off at a different angle. And then you had speed. So you had speed and angle, and that was it. That was the only 2 options you had. And yeah, so very quickly, my sisters weren't interested in playing the game with me. It was just me. I was in my room with this thing that nobody wanted to play, and playing solo squash. You didn't even get a score. It was just constant. Beep, beep, beep.
Well, it was the same with my sister because my sister wasn't interested in computers or video games or anything. And I remember when I got my Evel Knievel and everything. What did she get? She got this big, massive head thing where the hair would grow out of it, some sort of like Miss World or Glam World or something thing, and you put makeup on it, and you could pull the hair out and style the hair. And she'd get one of these cookers or something, right, where she would forget forever over Christmas be making these sweets in this toy cooker thing, and it was like Play-Doh. And she'd be going around and said, "Oh, I've made you a biscuit," and it'd be like, "Shit!" I mean, you couldn't. You go, "Yeah, it's lovely. Yeah, Girls' World. That's it." I mean, honestly. And I'd go, I want to go on my Evel Knievel, but it was always raining outside or something, so I couldn't do that. So yeah, she wasn't into computer games. She was into all of that sort of stuff.
So I mean, yeah, the early Pong machines, to be fair, were pretty basic. I mean, they were very basic, and I personally found them dull. So I wouldn't say that I was not getting Pong wasn't the start of my love for video games. Pong was just it was a bit of a novelty, and I'm sorry, I was telling a story, and it got to a point like I did with most toys. When I got bored of them, I would see if I could play it wrongly to get more entertainment. And so what I did was I figured if I switched it on and off really, really fast, it would what do you call it? Sometimes it would, like, I don't know, overload, and it would, instead of like the Pong demo, you had what looked like it was a black screen, and it looked like little white lines going down the screen. and it looked like the road from like Atari. I can't remember the fire engine one where you're driving the white kind of car on the black kind of Knight Rider or something.
Yeah.
It looked like and that to me that was more exciting, even though it wasn't a game. It looked like a video game in my bedroom. And
Yeah.
then the ultimate sad part was, and again this is absolutely true. My mate had got an Atari 2600, VCS as we called it,
Yeah.
and I never got one. I was never going to get one, and so I got a marker pen, and I drew the little Space Invaders on the screen, and then I
Yeah.
just I just sat and looked at it and pretended that I had Space Invaders on my TV, whereas it was just me had drawn them on a screen with a black marker.
No, it was the neighbour down the road that got a VCS in this street first, and his dad worked for KTEL Records. Do you remember KTEL?
Mm-hmm.
So he could afford all the new latest stuff. So where I had a Pong machine, and they used to come round my house and we'd play on Pong. You go around his house and he's got an Atari VCS, and it was like wanker. Not that not that I would have known those words back then, but it was like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, he was a wanker. Yeah,
You know what I
definitely
mean?
was.
But I remember this is back in the day. Yeah, I mean, it's so easy to think about this, but there was no internet back then. I got my Atari about 18 months after he got his. The first game he lent me was Yar's Revenge, but he didn't give me the manual. I had no idea how to play that game. It took me weeks to work out what was going on in that game. All I had was a load of weird graphics in the middle, something on the right hand side, a little ship on the left hand side, and all I know was for some unknown reason I would die, and I'd be still trying to work out what the hell I was supposed to be doing.
Having never actually owned a 2600, I mean, I do own one now, right enough. I've played it a couple of times in live streams, and I couldn't figure out. It sounds really surprising that an Atari 2600 game you can't play because you don't understand how to play it.
I worked it out
What
in the
what
end, but
what was that? What was the idea of the game? What are you supposed to do?
you were never going to know without the manual, I don't think anyway, how that game worked. But that force field type thing in the middle, that's an area where you can't really die. In fact, that's where you want to probably spend most of your life. On the right hand side is this thing that looked like a sideways spaceship, but you nibbled away or shot away at the force shield because you needed to destroy the thing in the center. There was this little dot that was moving up and down, and if it caught hold of you, it would then shoot across the screen and kill you. But it wouldn't kill you if you were in the force field bit in the center. So that's why I kept dying for no reason. I was going, what the hell's going on? So your idea is that you're a flea or something, and you had to nibble away at the force shield or something over on the right hand side. And if you see this little bullet type object, you needed to make sure that if it shot across, you moved up or down pretty darn quick because it was going to kill you, or you're in this middle corrupted graphic type center area. But how are you going to know that without the manual? So all I was doing was just dying all the time. I had no idea what was going on. So
You've made me want to try it now, actually. So that's basically you need to sit in the little force field and try it. So is it kind of like the spaceship level, the mothership level in Phoenix, where you're just picking off bits?
Well, that's what I thought it was, because you were sort of nibbling away, at the shield so that you could hit the thing in the center, right?
Yeah.
And so I was doing that left, right, and center, but then I'd die and I'd never actually get to the point where I'd actually shoot the damn thing. The graphic corruption area, I didn't know whether that was a problem with the game, some problem with my machine, or what the hell that was all about. But you tended to find that if you were in there, you didn't die as much. So I took it as, oh, that's the safe area, is it? Now, it probably isn't safe for all situations, but what I'm trying to say is it seemed like the safe area. So you were supposed to nibble away and then go back in the safe area, then nibble away and then go back in the safe area, and just repeat until you shoot the damn thing in the center. That's basically the point, I think, of Yar's Revenge. It doesn't have a big point, but I just remember that as being a really difficult game for me to understand because I had no manual and there was no internet and there was no magazines. So, well, that I could find in 1978. So that's my experience of that.
You've made me want to. Right here, let's just for a second. Let me just share this screen. Remove that. Share the screen. Hopefully this isn't going to fuck about with things. There we go. There's Yar's Revenge.
Yeah.
You see that? See, because looking at that, you think, oh, it's a Galaxian clone.
Yeah.
It's got a special feature apparently.
I can't remember what that was. I do apologise. I coughed then.
Oops, that's it. Oh, we'll leave that like that. That's fine. Right, page. Let's have
Isn't
a
it
look.
great that you could just have the manual? Great. Look at that. Special feature. This game contains
Additional versions for young children.
Oh, so this will suit you down to the ground then, Alan?
So you missed that part.
It's got kiddie mode.
There's a little disclaimer. They always had that. I always ensure you turn something off before.
Yeah.
I just sorry, going off topic. When I was down at Arcade Club, one of the guys was saying how, and this is I thought it was so funny. When you had a computer or a TV game and you wanted to use the TV, your mum used to say, "Oh, I don't want you to plug it in because you're going to break it." And it's like, how can I break it if I'm just using it? It's the way it was intended. No, you'll break the TV. My mum used to say that to me. You'll break it if you plug that bat and ball game into it. You're going to break the TV.
I remember. I don't know. I don't know where I heard, whether it was a vicious rumor or something. I know that you could use the bat in Pong, and you could etch after a while the line going up and down, and I remember my parents turning around and saying, "You can't play that game for an hour or more because you're gonna destroy the telly." Now,
like screen burn kind of thing.
Yeah, screen burn. Right?
Yeah, I think there might be an element of truth in that. To be fair.
Oh, there is. There definitely is. It's a cafe ray tube, and it's to do with scan lines and how scanning of the screen works. But what I'm trying to get at is where did I get that information from? Because there's no internet, and I can't think of my parents being so technically aware that they would know that. So somebody must have told it them, and it turns into one of those. Was that an old wives' tale or something? Type thing.
It was
probably.
It was probably in like People's Friend or something. Somebody, Miss Miffed from Suffolk has said that her grandson broke her TV through using one of these stupid TV game things, resulting in screen burn.
Yeah, but
something like that.
It's such ammunition, though, isn't it, for your parents? Because you can go, "Oh, I'll make sure he only has an hour on that game, an hour on that every night." Because I'll turn around to him and say, "You're going to destroy your telly with those." Right? So you can't do that. You can play it for an hour and that's it. And then we got to put the telly back on because it's got to fix the telly with the proper watching of TV stuff. You know what I mean?
Reverse the screen burn. There you go. Right. The primary objective of the game is to break a path through the shield and destroy the quotile with a blast from the Zorlin cannon. The secondary objective is to score as many points as possible. See Figure 1 for an explanation of the objects in the playfield. The shield is a red area in front of the quotile base. It appears in one of the two shapes, as an arch or a shifting rectangle. The shield is made up of cells. The Yar Scout can destroy these cells by firing at them with missiles, energy missiles from any location.
Yeah.
Right. Would you know that? If I had read that out, would you know if that was Zar's Revenge? So
no, I'd need that picture, and I'd be going, "What the hell does that picture mean?"
So that'll be there you go. That's the Zorl. You've got to love. There you go. That's you. I take it.
No, that's you with that picture glyph. It looks like with to the right of that multicolored band. So
that's you there.
Yeah, that's you there.
So what's that?
That is what fires into that big ship on the right-hand side when you destroy the shields.
So wait a minute, you're that.
That's the Zorlin cannon.
I take it these arrows aren't there. They're just pointing for. Oh, there you go, Zorlin cannon, right? So you play Yar?
Yes.
So you're Yar.
And your idea is to destroy that green thing there.
The quotile.
The Zorland cannon is the thing that will kill the Qualtar, but you've got to destroy this shield first.
So you shoot and destroy bits out of this.
Yeah.
You really want this to. You want to flip this, don't you?
Yeah.
You want to flip this 90 degrees
You want it
left.
to be yeah. You don't want it to be that way. That's what one of the joys of this game was.
I have to say though, I mean that's bloody impressive. Look at that.
And that's the neutral zone.
No, that's impressive. That is very impressive.
And that's why I said, look, I finally figured out that I seem to be okay if I was in this neutral zone.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. That Yar's revenge. Anyway, what we digress. So anyway, yeah, the Atari 2600. But the point I was trying to make is, yeah, I mean, then I never got the 2600. So I went from Pong machines to then an 8-bit computer, and it was like, boof! It was just like amazing, absolutely amazing. And then the wow factor when I went from that to the Atari ST was quite big. But then it went back a wee bit when I realised how shit the Atari sound was. It wasn't a patch on the C64. And then the wow factor going from the Amiga was quite a bit.
Yeah.
And then the PC a wee bit more. And then the PlayStation, getting to play like Ridge Racer on your TV was like, wow. But ever since that, I mean, I've just got the Xbox X. I look excited.
It's like I said, I like you. I appreciate the fact that I was around where things were very much in the early days, because you saw the quantum leaps. The quantum leaps were marked quite readily and easily. It was like, wow, you can do that now. You know, I remember back in the day where I thought, I want to play a ray traced game, you know, a game that looks like Pixar, but I want, you know, and all that sort of stuff, you know. And you're still trying to do that now. Your graphic card that you bought for your VR has got a ray tracing ability on it. There's hardly any games out there that use it because it slows the game down too much. But what I'm saying is, we're still talking about that now. They were talking about that back in the 80s and 90s. Do you see what I mean? The quantum leap is still not there. Obviously things look absolutely amazing, you know, but don't get me wrong. But it's just that if you put on a PS3 game and then put on a PS5 game, there's not that big a jump from a ZX80 to a Commodore 64. There's a bloody great big jump.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? And it's in your face, you know. And yet there's only a couple of years between the machines. 1980, 1983. I mean, 3 years. You went from black and white, 1K of RAM, 64K of RAM, sprite, sound, flipping egg. It's night and day, you know. And then when the 16 bits came along, it was like what Richard was telling you. It was like he had all these registers to play with. It's like you went from a claustrophobic feeling of coding, he said, to working in a factory or something with an empty room. It's how you're going to fill it. How you're going to fill it. It was that. That's the leap. But then from there, you went to PCs, and then when you go to PCs, it turns into there's not that, you know. There's been some changes, but not the quantum leap type changes that you saw between a 64 and a Commodore and an Amiga. You know. Have we got some questions, Alan?
Yeah. Right, let's have a quick look. Colin's asking, Alan Dell, what game would you love to be HD remastered on modern systems? Mine would be Drop Zone. I take it we're talking about old style games as opposed to, well, I don't know, like Ridge Racer or whatever. For me, I mean, I've never really an old style game that I enjoy. I don't need to have. If I enjoy it now, say for example, Pipeline, Super Pipeline. Everybody knows I enjoy Pipeline. I love the game. It's not about the graphics. It's just about the whole. It's a fun game to play. It's got great music. It's entertaining. It's quite easy to play. It's got brilliant comedy can you put into it. So playing that with updated graphics wouldn't, in my mind, it wouldn't make it a better game at all. But one game I would be intrigued to see, and I'm talking like a PlayStation 5 version, was the original way of the exploding fist. But I don't want anything extra. I don't want different characters. I want it to look like I want it to look like the big boss or whatever it's Fists of Fury. I want it to look like these, I don't know, Japanese, Chinese, I don't know what they are, the fighters. I want it to look exactly like that. The 8-bit graphics, but just morphed into amazing, and it's got the sound, everything about it. I would love to see that, but for me, generally, I'm not a massive fan of remastered
No.
games. What about yourself, Dale?
Well, I was a little bit like you, but I think that question came up before, and I actually agreed with your original answer, which I think you said at the time was Forbidden Forest. And I went, actually, to be quite honest, I'd like somebody to do just the graphical change to Forbidden Forest and keep it exactly as the game is right now. Sideways scrolling. None of this 3D going in and out of the screen. I'd just like it to be sideways scrolling and just overhaul the graphics.
We better go. That's not a bad shout. I thought of one and I've completely forgotten all about it. That's not a bad shout.
Well, I thought you, like I said, for once you came out with a great answer, and I'm just basically repeating what you said, really. So it's you that answered that, really, to be quite honest. It's just I've got a better memory than you have.
But like I said, I'm not really. I'm trying. I'm trying to think of any other games that you would warrant. I mean, I suppose one game I think. Well, here's one. I'm going to put this to you. What about? Would you like to see a PlayStation 5 and the exact same game, sound, but done with more voices, graphics? What about Impossible Mission on the PlayStation 5, but it's side scrolling, none of this 3. I mean, remember they took Strider and they turned it into a 3D thing. I'm talking about keeping the game exactly, keeping it true to the original, but just with. Can you imagine you could have Tom Cruise running along and all that? I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, but the reason I mentioned Impossible Mission before, though, was for that exact reason that I said back in the day, I had too many just pick up and go games, and this was a game that I could get my teeth into. Just to put a PS5 slant onto that game, I don't think I'd enjoy it, to be quite honest. I don't think I'd be wowed by it because the wow factor's gone from my game playing a little bit now.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, you know, one game. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting because I've got a habit of. I'm thinking when you're talking, I'm thinking I'm going to see that, I'm going to see that, I'm going to see that, and you go, and then you stop, and I go,
you go on,
and I can't remember what I was going to say. What I should do is put my hand up. One game I would like to see turned into. It's just a pity we've not got a delightful female coder on the channel that could possibly make that a thing. Can you imagine having Whizball, but like using the Williams hardware, proper an arcade version of Whizball, this, super fast. That would be something quite special.
I'll go one different with that. Because they've tried Whizball before and it didn't really work very well for the Atari ST and the Commodore 64. How about redoing Whizball in vectors? just to put a different slant on it. Instead of having raster graphics, and all you're doing is just improving the colors and pixelization and increasing the resolution. Let's go the whole hog and change it totally and have it just lines. And see whether it works on your Vectrex system. What would Whizball be like on your Vectrex?
Well, I did say Jim Bagley was actually in the process. Jim Bagley, he's programmed lots of games on the Spectrum. He started working on a bomb jack for the Vectrex. And I remember when I was at Glasgow, excuse me, he let me see it, and this is before the next came along and obviously took over Jim's kind of all his time. But that was impressive. So I'm actually looking here. There is I've maybe lost it since I lost my hard drive. There is a newer version of Whizball for the PC. I might have it in. Hang on a little second. I might have it in my.
Holly said, "In fact, I'm not sure I've ever seen Whizball played properly." Yes, because you watch out.
You two bloody, you kill me. Honestly, you fucking kill me, the pair of you. Right, what was I looking for? My rat. I've got
You
a
said there's
wonderful.
a new PC version of Whizball you were going.
Wait a wee minute. Remakes. This. I'm going to let you see this actually. I'm going to share the screen. Share screen. This is game based, which I talk about all the time. And this particular one is called Ultimate Play, the remakes. So this is exactly it. There's like a remake of Fort Apocalypse.
Yeah.
What's that? Oh, hang on. Raid on Fort Apocalypse.
Raid on Fort.
A retro remake, 2008 competition. Now let's have a wee look. See, there's some Galaxian ones. They look all right. Gauntlet. I mean, there's one that's bloody horrendous. Paula Moss will love this, called Kung Fu Master. I did do a video based on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's again horrible.
So you actually did a video of that once, didn't you? I think.
That looks like a Michael Jackson video, isn't it? You expect him to start fucking moonwalking any time now.
Because didn't you turn around and say it's a toss-up now whether the Spectrum has got the worst version of Kung Fu Master now that I've seen this version? And you put it on and I went, oh my God, yes. Because the Spectrum was always considered to be the worst version of Kung Fu Master, if I remember rightly. I am going back a few years after I watched your videos. But
right, wait a wee minute. Let's have a wee look. Oh, there's Xavier. Is Whizball there? Whizball. Right, okay, right. Let's just for shits and giggles, let me load this up.
Isn't this the PC remake that you went on? You actually thought that this was quite good, actually.
Oh, wait a minute, Dale. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Can you see that? All right.
I can see the game base and the pictures. But that's all.
Can you see the comments? Because basically what it's done is it's moved across to the different screens, so I can't see us anymore. Can somebody in the comments confirm that they can indeed see this all right and still see us?
I'll start typing. Can you see us, guys?
I'll tell you what, if I go to 3,
well, Paul said about Kung Fu Master. No, we can't. It's yes. So we're getting the same lovely answers from our lovely people. One says no, and the other one says yes.
Right, so they can see it presumably.
I'm saying yeah. Paul, I love him to death, but he's maybe now. Yeah,
you can fuck off.
Fuck off.
Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. Right, it's not using the keys. Hang on.
While he's doing that, I do apologise, guys, because I'd normally keep a track of the questions, and if any have scrolled off the screen, I apologise for that. I remember somebody asked my opinion of the PS5. It's a little bit like what Al's got his impression of his Xbox from my point of view. I bought the PS5 because I knew one day there would be a time that I'd play it and I'd really want to play it. But I bought it because it had Spider-Man on it. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm a big film addict, but I'm also a Spider-Man addict. He's been around.
Right, can you see
life.
that? Sorry, Dale.
Okay.
Can you see that all right?
I just see game base.
You can't see Whizball?
No.
Right. Alright, that's a pain in the arse. Right, listen, you know what? I'll just come out. What's it doing now?
It says not responding now.
Right, I'll just come out. Not to worry. Quick game, number 6. Right, hopefully we're back again. There we go. Bink. I don't know. That's one thing that annoys me about this StreamYard. I mean, I've got the StreamYard thing here, and then when you try and run Whizball here,
Yeah,
it moves across to here, and it just kind of it takes over. I don't know.
it's which monitor is the focus for the broadcast. That's
I
what we're
don't know.
trying to figure out.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, it would going back to what Colin's saying. I would like to see a proper arcade version of Whizball. That would be quite nice. That and Exploding Fist, and even possibly, again, it's got to stick to the original formula. It's got to have the music. Don't change anything. Don't fuck about with anything. Rolling Thunder. Can you imagine Rolling Thunder with the proper music? That would be just awesome. Yeah, thanks, Colin.
Yeah, that was a good question, that one, wasn't it?
Ian Hunter, good evening. Ian, good evening, all. Just hope you don't regret selling your Spectrum next, Alan. I don't, Ian, not at all. I don't have any regrets. You know, in an ideal world, you would keep everything. You would love to keep everything. But when something's worth quite a bit of money and you've never used it, you've used it for about an hour in, I don't know, over a year, I'm not going to miss it. At the end of the day, and somebody did say that to me, chances are, in 3 years' time, you're probably going to be able to pick them up for not a lot of money. Well, maybe, I'm not saying not a lot of money, but nah, I don't one little bit, Ian. Right, I don't know where we are. I mean, I'm probably miles behind in the questions. In fact, Ian's question was at 8:30, so I'm about 50 minutes behind. So
yeah,
probably,
that's what I'm saying. And I just remembered there was a PS5 question for me.
Right, I think what we'll do, Dale. I think what we'll do. I mean, we're kind of dragging on a bit here. It's an hour and 20. People have got fucking better things to do than watch us. I mean, I think is that the end credits coming up in the film, so people are going to start switching off in a minute.
No. What you can do now is you can go to the cinema because that's the end of that film, and it starts exactly at that point. Right, you go to the cinema now.
Right, listen, what we're going to do? Well, I think we'll do a quick fire question. Boom, 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 boom. Next, we'll not kind of dwell on it because I know I kind of.
Yeah, we've only got 30 seconds to answer each question. There we are. That's the time limit.
Right, this is a question for me. Quick one to you, Dale, being an IT guru. Do you turn your PC off at night or do you leave it on?
I turn it off.
Right, that's best coming ever.
And that's because I've got a streaming media server. So basically,
one thing I was surprised to hear when I've had problems with my streams, which, believe it or not, do happen from time to time. I have switched it off and then switched it on again. Somebody actually said on a video or something that if you switch it off and then switch it back on again, that's not as good as doing a restart. Apparently, a restart completely refreshes everything. Whereas I would have thought it'd been the opposite, but they said a restart is better than an on and off.
If you think about it, when you turn it off, power is leaving the equipment. If you do a restart, it doesn't clear memory. That was the old rule in IT. So it would be better for you to turn it off and then turn it back on again. And that's why you always had the joke, have you turned it off and on again? There's no joke that says, have you restarted it? And that's because that's what all IT service desk people used to tell, because it cured all ills. So it is always better to turn something off and then on if you're having a big problem. And that's why they ask you. But the trouble is with your router, they always say turn it off and keep it off for 5 minutes. That's because it takes ages for the power to go away.
I think I mentioned I found out that my Virgin broadband was down for about a week.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I was going to ask you whether you got your 2 meg back or whatever it was.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You know what? I mean, it was running at like 0.5 a meg, but yeah, it's back now. It's working fine again, but I'm not impressed. Right, where are we? We're at 8:38. We're all talking about films, Blazing Saddles, Italian Job. Mad moments go when I hear the C64 Sid tune of Death Wish. I need to watch the movies. Do you know that's a series of films I've never watched? I've never watched a single Death Wish film.
I saw the second one before any other one, and that was because I watched it before my dad returned it back to Blockbuster. Well, it wasn't Blockbuster Videos; it was Hollywood Videos or something. It's when we had pirate tapes of everything, when there was a pirate version of ET going around. And my dad heard that it was the most violent film that anybody, it was like a really controversial film. So I watched it and I thought, load of shit. I didn't think much of it. It is a film in time, but it's not a film that I think much of anymore.
Right, Dale, quick one for you. What's your guilty pleasure film?
Oh, what's your guilty pleasure film? Yeah, Laurel and Hardy, the piano. That I can't remember what it's called, but it's the piano going up the stairs. When they have to try and get the piano.
Well, he says you told everyone you hate. That presumably means like, it's kind of generally regarded as being shit.
But secretly love watching the film. So you're a film that you hate, but you secretly love watching. Oh,
you're a film. I mean, I suppose if you said you love Top Gun, it's a bit like if somebody said, "Who's your favourite rock group?" Oh, I love U2. They would you get a bit of tumbleweed going on. Yeah.
I tell you what comes to mind: Waterworld.
Okay, never seen it.
I've got a big love-hate relationship with that film because I don't like Kevin Costner much. It's set on the water. It's absolutely pretty boring, really, because it's Mad Max on the water. But every time it's on telly, I'll watch it. And I don't know why. I'm like this. Why am I watching this shit again?
I'm trying to think. I mean, like I said, because I don't watch a lot of films. If I start watching a film and I'm not enjoying it, I'm not one of these people who'll say, "Oh, wait a minute, we need to just watch it all. We need to see the end." Nah, fuck that. I've seen me sitting watching a film and I'm an hour in and I'm like, "This is shit," and I'll switch it off and go away and do something else.
Everybody's answering now. It's the music box, yeah, and I should remember the names of these things. The music box.
I could talk all. We'll need to. Are you a fan of Laurel and Hardy?
Yeah.
Right. Well, listen. I think we've got a video in us just to talk about Laurel and Hardy.
Yeah, Laurel and Hardy, Harold Lloyd.
Right. Yeah. Ox is saying he agrees that cricket is wank. Absolutely.
The Ashes is on at the moment. Yeah.
Right, Paul's asking, noticed your PS5 there, Dale. What's your verdict? Is the machine deserving of the hype in your view?
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to answer. It probably is going to be deserving of its hype, but not at the moment. And I only bought it because it's got Spider-Man on it. That was the reason I bought it. I literally have turned it on 3 times.
So take from that what you will, Paul. I mean, I've had my Xbox X for a couple of weeks. Do I like it? Yeah, I like it because what I love about it is the fact that I can put I can put virtually any Xbox. Does it play the original Xbox games?
To a point.
But the fact, I mean, put it this way, I tried a couple of random, I think was it Ridge Racer 6 and something else, and it plays them. To have a backwards compatibility that plays.
But you see, right below the PS5 is a 4K player. Now, if I didn't have that 4K player, then I'd be saying that the PS5's on all the time because I'd be watching my films through it.
Yeah.
That's the problem, you see, because I've got a 4K player. I hardly turn it on because I'm not playing games at the moment. I'm so busy at work with trying to learn a new job at the moment and whether I'll even keep my job. So I'm sort of not playing games much other than if it's on my PC, I am. My Xbox, by the way, is over there.
Yeah, but is Xbox worth the hype? I couldn't really say. I am glad I've got it. Again, I've bought it with stuff that I've sold, so I've basically got rid of stuff that I've simply never using. Right, let's have a quick look. LFC Gamer. My mum isn't into video games, but she loves Space Invaders. Was playing in the arcades before I came into existence. Just as well she got bored, Keith, because you might not be here, son.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, if Keith's mum hadn't got bored, then I would have one less subscriber. There you go.
Have you actually done that? Has actually anybody done that? I remember somebody asked me the same question. I think my sister and I had an argument. Have you ever actually worked out when you were born type back 9 months and then find out what the world was doing 9 months before you were born to find out what it was that made your mum and dad get together.
I can absolutely guarantee it was probably the fucking Cricket World Cup or something was on the telly. Right, I'm just quick. Right, Croist says he loved Yar's Revenge. Ox says he hated it and found it completely pointless.
Yeah, but Ox is useless at games, and he doesn't, and he's got no finesse or quality about it.
There you go.
I'm only joking, by the way, Ox. I agree with you. It's one of those games where I was lent it and I didn't know what the hell was going on, and I only played it till I worked out what it was, and then I didn't play it.
That's the best teacher ever, eh? Ox got his first ever pirate compilation tape of his science teacher. Fantastic. I don't know whether this is true. The author of Yar's Revenge was called Ray.
Hence, yeah. It probably is. Do you know what? I bet you any money that's true.
Right. Let's have another quick look. Let's see. We try and get some. We want to try and keep this below an hour and a half. Oh, DER, bloody hell, that's bringing back a few memories. I remember our first big colour TV with remote control hired from DER. When you rattled the dog's chain, it changed the channels.
It's a Sonic remote. I remember Sonic remotes. Yeah,
that's what I was talking about. It was a video I did with Lawn Boys Post, and we were talking about remote control cars. And yeah, it wasn't Bluetooth, obviously. It was Sonic remote.
They had a grid at the front, and they almost were like big blocks at the end. And infrared was a sort of like a red piece of plastic with a bulb that you could see behind it. Right.
And it says the remote control car I had, it went forwards, and then when you clicked the thing, it would reverse back, and then you could go forward. So you had to just keep going reverse. It was absolutely shit.
Well, I told you that I said I was so poor that when you were talking about your remote control days, I had a remote control spaceship that all it did was it went round and round and round in a circle until you pressed the button, and then it went forward whenever you press the trigger, it'd go forward from that point. When you let go of the trigger, it then span round again. That's all it was. And I went, oh, bloody hell. This is what I've got for Christmas. And I was bored of it in about 15 seconds.
Yeah, Ox's mate paid £3,600 for one of the first 28-inch LG flat panels.
Oh,
that is mental.
I remember buying my first 32-inch widescreen telly. Everybody was buying square TVs, and BSB had just come out, British Sky Broadcasting, and I bought a great big massive flipping 32-inch silver box. And then I started buying widescreen videotapes, like Star Wars had just come out on widescreen and all of that sort of stuff. And everybody was going mad because you could watch these films now. Do you remember the term pan and scan? Where there was no borders at the top and the bottom, pan and scan. So all of a sudden I could watch the whole film, and everybody turned around and said, yeah, but that ain't going to happen with Lawrence of Arabia. That's still going to look like a flipping letterbox. You're never going to get rid of the borders of that. And it's true. 70mm film. You're never going to get the borders of that. Look.
Just before I forget, Dale, did you just come back from? I'm thinking about the Halcyon days of Play.com. You'd order your Region 1 director's cut of whatever it was. One of my mates used to frequent the DVD forums. Were you on that?
In AV forums? Yeah.
Was it called? And they had like they had a bargain sort of section, and every couple of days he would send me an email. Oh, by the way, you can get this for one of the things he bought. This is before the internet was a thing. It's a keyboard which lets you browse the internet, and it was you could sit in your settee and you had to run the cable and plug it into your TV. And then you ran the RF cable into your TV, and you're sitting there, and you could surf for internet, and it was absolutely shit. I think I paid, I can't remember how much it was. I paid maybe 30 quid for it. But you need to remember, this was before I had like a computer that was online, so I thought it was great. It was shit. So after a couple of weeks, I put it on eBay, and I think I sold it for 99 pence. Fuck. There was like millions of them, absolutely fucking millions of them. Nobody wanted them. Nobody
I
would
didn't.
touch them
I
with a
didn't
barge
learn
pole.
about. I didn't learn about all these hacks actually too much until I moved away from my home and moved to Manchester, where suddenly I was introduced to cable and wireless. And cable and wireless was a cable satellite type service, and they gave you your internet, and it was a box. And all of a sudden, I was going out with this girl, and his dad came up to me and said, "Do you want all the channels? Because all you have to do, look, is put this little piece of cable, look, between here in that box, and you'll have all the channels. Do you want one? I'll get you one. It'll be about 30 quid. We got one from work." That's when I started learning about all these little hacks and things, because I was a straight lace type person at home. It was like, oh yeah, we'd buy the channels, we'd have the, we'd have the entertainment channel, the drama channel, all of that sort of stuff. When I went up to Manchester, everybody was trying to rip everybody off. It was like, yeah, you can have every channel. Do you want all the porn channels? Do you want absolutely every movie channel? Do you want all the stuff from where, And I was going, yeah, all right, of course I do. And that's how
Well,
MAME was, wasn't it? In 1998, it was like all of a sudden you got thousands of games. It was like, of
yeah,
course I want everything. I want absolutely everything. I
I
don't want
was
one.
I was laughing. As you probably know, you can get things that you plug in your TV now, and it's got all the channels and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. It's funny as anything. I was up at the local shopping centre a couple of weeks ago, and Sky TV have always got their little stall. They try to grab you interested.
Yeah.
And as I was up there a couple of weeks ago, I heard them saying to a guy, "Oh, can I interest you in Sky TV?" And he goes, "Listen, mate," he says, I get all the channels, every channel for free, got all the films for free. If you can beat that, then I'm interested." And the boy laughed.
My dad used to
Right,
wind. My dad used to wind those up because he used to turn around to them and say, "Can you get the Devil channel on it?"
which was what?
Because I worship Satan. That's why he'd normally say something like, usually just piss him off. Or he said, "Can I have your customer service number?" "Oh, why? Are you going to buy it?" It says, "No, we've got it already. We want to get rid of it now."
Paul's asking, who's looking forward to playing the C64 version of Sonic the Hedgehog on Sunday? So I presume I presume it's getting released. I was looking at a couple of tweets. I think it was Jazz Rignall brought it to my attention that it's coming out. Somebody put a video of it, and yeah, it's Sonic the Hedgehog. And in fact, no, it was in Discord, and somebody one of the guys says, "Why?" And then I think it was Panther said, "Because you can." And that's it. It's like anything. It's like, well, why would you want to play? Why would you want to play Ghosts and Goblins on the Commodore 64 when you can play the arcade? Because there's just something quite funky about being able to play something on a piece of hardware that it really shouldn't be able to do. When you think back to like 1991, I remember I think it was probably Computer and Video Games, or no, it was, what was it, Mean Machines, and I used to go into the local thing, man. I used to buy lots of magazines, but I would stand there, and my missus, she'd be away fucking trying on dresses. I would just stand and read the magazines, and I'd be reading the magazines, and I read Sonic the Hedgehog, and they were just going, this game is the most amazing thing ever. So I went into, I'm trying to think, it might have been a shop in Edinburgh. There was one shop, I can't remember what it was called, and they sold loads of SNES games and all that, but they had Sonic the Hedgehog, and it was an American and Japanese import, and yeah, it just looked incredible. To go from even like the Amiga to like the sound effects were just phenomenal. So that was phenomenal, and bear in mind, 5 years before I had just sold my C64 because it was shit. And now somebody's ported Sonic the Hedgehog onto a C64. I'll be interested to see what it's like. Looking at the video that I saw, it looks quite nice. So, Paul, is it? I think I'm right in saying it requires 128K. So it's not going to run in a sort of standard standard piece of hardware. It's going to be, I don't know. Can you add RAM to a C64?
Yep, you can.
Can you? Oh well.
Yeah.
It's not going to be for the average person, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see what it's like.
Was that is this again the Scottish 30-second answers?
Paul,
Go on.
Paul's asking, have you seen the upcoming Spectrum Next remake of Exploding Fist? You know what? That's maybe partly why I never used it, because I've not as much as I enjoy computer games, I watch a lot of YouTube. I watch just random shit, like watching a fucking monkey rescuing a kitten out of a well, and fucking sharks, and all that kind of shit. I don't actually watch that many kind of retro games or retro channels, so I'm really not up to speed with what's kind of going down. You know what I mean? And so I never really got to see any games in the Spectrum Next. The fact that I've not got it at the moment, it means that I'm not going to look at it. But however, I am relying.
Oh, he might have frozen. Or have I frozen? Somebody tell me. Oops. If anybody wants to write a question, then he looks like one of the step-toes with that pose.
Informed.
There he's back. Oh no, he's not.
There we are. We're back again. Oh, you back, Dale? No, there you are. You're back.
I was all right all the way through it.
Oh, but it's just me. So yeah, I'll no doubt. Yeah, if maybe that's what I've been crying out for. I want an HD remake of something, and maybe the next is going to give me that. Craig's saying the original Football Manager on the PlayStation 5. Yeah, the original Football Manager is the only football manager type game that I wanted. Right, Dale, one for you, son. I'll let you read it, and I'll have a drink of juice.
If you could have only if you could have only C64 game in each format, cassette, disc, or cartridge, what would they be?
That's 3 different games, presumably. Yeah, or it could all be the same game.
On disc, it would be Defender of the Crown. On cartridge, it would be... I didn't have many C64 cartridge games. Gyrus was the cartridge game out of that. I'd like that back. On cassette, don't think it really matters on cassette. Most of my stuff was on cassette. I will go with Elite then. There you are.
Easy for me. Cassette, it's going to be Super Pipeline 2. Or was Super Pipeline 2. Disc is going to be Summer Games, and cartridge, it's a toss-up between International Soccer or Wizard of War, which is a phenomenal conversion.
Yes, was. It's just I didn't have many cartridges for the C64. That's all. That's what made that difficult.
Paul saying, if I could have Tom Cruise running along in Possible Mission, I'd have him zapped by robots on purpose.
Does he write the jokes for the new Zap magazine?
I fucking hope not. I
love Paul to death. He's great. Only all his questions makes Al's answers about 8 minutes long.
What's that? I'm just trying to see. I'd like an updated mod in the run with the option to choose between the original music or the version the fast loaders put in YouTube today.
Isn't there one of those already? You actually did a Monty on the Run thing, and you said, actually, here's one with new music, and I still prefer the old music, and they had actually redone it.
So is this a redone SID?
No, it's the C64 audio has got all sorts of different versions of Monty on the Run that they've redone. Some of them are really good, some of them are pants. They did do a Monty on the Run version where you could actually choose the music between one of the C64 tunes that was there, and you still turned around and said, I prefer the original. Why change perfection? I think is what your answer was.
Absolutely. I'd be interested to see that, Paul. If you don't mind, send me a wee link to that. If that's
You can search your own videos. It's where you actually did it.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right, here's one from Steve. Name a weird game mechanic. Mine is Scramble, where you bomb fuel to get more fuel. Yeah,
Oh
that's quite.
Christ, yeah.
That's yeah. Yeah, that's always been a bit of a stickler with me. Yeah, you bomb fuel to get more fuel.
Well, I always thought that Jeff Minter had the best game mechanic, but it's not a game mechanic like what you're mentioning there, where you have to bomb something to get more bombs. Do you know what I mean? He came up with interesting ways to shoot something, like a force shield where you had to spit and get the angles right. That's what I call a game mechanic. So I'd have a difficulty. I'm trying to think of games now where you get more time, but you have to go 3 minutes somewhere in the game to get more time that will take you 3 minutes to get back. I'm trying to think. There's probably a load of games like that where I've done something stupid where I've gone, oh, so if I do this shortcut here, it actually makes the game longer.
I'm trying to think a strange game mechanic.
I'm not seeing much chat, to be quite honest, moving up the screen. Has everybody gone?
Well, I'm only at 9:14, so I'm still half an hour behind. Right, we'll need to think about that one, Steve. Let's have another wee look. I'm going to take it off at the moment. A strange game mechanic. There, Kroisk is asking, do you guys play any modern pixel art retro style games? I have a blast playing Broforce with my kids, and I like Shovel Knight. I did try Shovel Knight. I have to say, it's a bloody good game. It's a bloody good game. I'm not a fan of, buying an Xbox X and then you download a game that looks like an NES game. I don't really see the point of that. I don't really understand. Yeah. I'm not a fan of these, but I do think Shovel Knight is a good game. Have you played it yourself, Dale?
I've played Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight wasn't too bad, but the trouble is that it just reminded me of every NES game that had ever been out. Right?
Aye, it's kind of taking the essence of them all, isn't it?
When it comes to pixel art, I've played, and you and I have both got lots of pixel art games, even though we don't know it because we've got Steam, and I've given you a load of game codes. And if I was to look down my list, I'm pretty sure that there must be 200 or 300 pixel art games there, and I've probably hardly played any of them. I remember Fez. That's a pixel art game.
Yeah.
That's probably the one that comes out to mind when I'm thinking pixel art.
It's not a pixel art game, but it's a kind of basic game and I've touched on it before, is a Limbo.
Yes, where you just play Shadow.
What? Now wait a minute. There was two of them. There was one with a follow up. There's Limbo, where you're inside a kind of industrial factory and you're running. Then I think is Limbo the one where you're running and you're getting chased with like spiders, and then you've obviously got to cross over the water and you get people chasing you and that kind of stuff. I can't remember.
There's a neon sign that collapses as well, if I remember rightly, because you play everything in shadow, don't you?
Yeah,
there was a follow up to it, but I can't remember what it's called.
I can't remember what it is. I've played them both, but they're beautiful games. They're so simple. Left and right and fire button. That is it. They go back to the kind of good old days.
Somebody mentioned it about 4 or 5 weeks ago, saying go to the Xbox now. You can buy it for about 99 pence. And you were the one that said yes, Limbo is fantastic. And I can't remember what the other title was called. And he mentioned it. Inside, is that what it's called? I don't know. Can't remember.
Okay. Yeah. Holly's saying that it looks like I'm still not going to see Whizball played properly. Yeah, I'll need to do a wee video on that. It's a cracking game.
Why you're going to spend a month playing it in the background so that you can come on and actually show people how to play it, because you haven't shown how to play it properly yet.
I'm sure the last time I played it, I got fairly far. So screw you. Evening, all bit late. Evening, Milthy. How are you, Squire? Right, I think we're kind of.
Oh, and the film you must watch over Christmas, it's a tradition in our family, is Scrooged. Bill Murray's Scrooged.
You know what? I saw that in the pictures and I enjoyed it. I've never actually seen it
Or
since then.
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. They're the two films that you've got to watch.
Yeah.
Stuff Elf. I don't give a shit about Elf.
Nah,
Okay.
watched it once and it's a bit meh. Right, okay, yep, it's Holly saying there. Die Hard films, are they Christmas films?
Yes.
What defines a Christmas film?
It's set at Christmas. It's a Christmas party.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. I don't care when they turn around and say, yeah, just because it's snowing outside, don't make it Christmas. It's actually a Christmas party in a big tower.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I mean, it's as simple as that. If a film is held during Christmas, it's a Christmas day, it's got Christmas in it, and it's a Christmas film. So I'll need to watch. I'll need to watch Die Hard. I'll watch. You know what? Every Christmas Eve, without failing, I'm going to do it again this year. Is I'll watch The Snowman. Love it. Absolutely love it.
Well,
I just lose myself.
I told you at the last Hogmanay thing that I didn't even know there was an Iron Brew Snowman advert.
Have you watched
Snowman, and it's got
yeah.
and apparently Iron Brew made it, and I didn't even know that because we've never seen it in the UK unless you go online. We never saw that advert over in England. It was
seriously
it was never broadcast in England. It was a Scottish only thing.
Aye, they brought out the sort of like the original Iron Brew one where he's where the snowman drops the wee boy because he's nicked his Iron Brew. He drops him into the snow. But there was a new one came out.
Did a sequel a couple of years later, didn't they?
Yeah. I wasn't a massive fan of the second Snowman. There was a sequel came out maybe about 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, and a little dog, is it? It was all about the snowman.
Aye. It's still nice, still a beautiful thing, but it's I don't know. I like the original. I mean, it's a dark story, but then of course, what's his name? Raymond Briggs. He wrote a bloody thing called when the northwest wind blows or something, all about an old age couple that are dying because they've been contaminated with a nuclear bomb.
It's a pity my mum's not here, but apparently the first time I watched Frosty the Snowman, I cried for a week.
Is that right?
Apparently. Now, I might have been 2 or 3 years old. I don't know. I don't remember it. But apparently I cried like a big kiddie panty girl when Frosty the Snowman came on because of what happened at the end.
Next time your mum comes in, we can ask her. But
now,
yeah.
And I'm just going to answer that LFC. It's a Wonderful Life, a fantastic film. Every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings. Yes. It's a Wonderful Life is a fantastic film. Fire, Main Master, come on.
Right, I think we're kind of getting to the. Oh, quick one for Retro Ross. Evening, lads. Are you feeling any better, Alan? Not really, Retro. No, I'm feeling a tiny wee bit better, but I'm still feeling a bit rubbish. Yeah, hopefully I'll feel better before Christmas.
Well, I know what to get. Main Meister for Christmas, and that's a razor. Fucking hell! Fine.
You leave my beard alone, you cheeky bastard.
Now that you're a millionaire, based on a lovely guest that we used to have, you should be able to buy a razor. Jesus Christ! Or some Grecian 2000 or something.
Well, I do.
Anyway, yeah, but you're supposed to use it on your face.
My razor is for the head, not for the bottom part. I was actually thinking last weekend about growing my hair. I've not. The reason I shaved my head is back in 2000. My ex used to cut my hair. She was a kind of hairdressery person. She used to cut my hair. Now, before I met her, 4 years prior, me and my dad used to always go to the barber shop. It was this wee barber shop, and it was the 4 guys, and you used to go in and you had a chat and you talked about the weather and the football and God knows whatever. So I was going to the barber shop from about 4 years old. You know, when you used to sit, they used to put the plank across the arms of the chair, and because you're too small, and you sat in the plank, and then you got the cover put over you. So I went to that barber shop for probably 20 years. And then when I got together with my ex, she said, "Oh, you don't need to go back to the barber shop. I'll cut your hair for you." So that's fine. So she cut my hair for me. And then when we split up, I thought, shit, I don't want to go back to the barber shop because they're going to say, "Where have you been? You've been away for 4 years. You're going to have to." And I didn't want to get grilled, so I thought, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to shave my head. That's it. I've never looked back since. I'm completely grey, as my beard would be grey as well. Not quite as much as my head. My head. I do sometimes think I should maybe just get a big, proper, full head of hair again and see what I look like. But the problem, I've tried that a couple of times, and it gets to about 3 or 4 weeks in, and I'm like, nah, fuck it, and I just go back to what I like.
Well, I've never shaved my head because I've got moles. I'm a bit conscious of them, so
right, yeah,
So I worry a little bit that I'll lose my hair. But my dad never lost his hair, so I think I'm going to be okay. My hair will just go grey like his did. But I've got a question for you, Al. Actually,
yep, go for it.
No, I did have one for you. It's gone out of my head a moment. Oh yes. Have you had any Christmas quizzes yet at your works? We've had one of ours.
You're having a giraffe, mate. My work is uber serious.
We had one of ours, and one of the questions, which really threw me, and I got it wrong, and it's so easy an answer. I can't believe I got it wrong. How many ghosts are there in A Christmas Carol?
How many ghosts are there?
Yeah.
In A Christmas Carol.
Well, Scrooge.
Yeah, I mean you've got the one that comes originally. Oh, you've got well, a minute. You've got his pal who died. He comes to see him.
Milf is giving the answer away, but I want you to come up with it. Go on.
Is it 5?
No. So the answer should be 4, but most people say 3 because it's the Ghost of Christmas Past, Present, and Future. Right? That's what it is. But everybody forgets Bob Marley.
Yep, that's what I was saying. Yep.
Well, it's not Bob Marley, but Marley, right? Marley's
Marley.
Marley. You know what I mean? So
Buffalo Soldier. So Red Knock Rasta.
I put down 5. So I put down 5, and everybody went, "How the hell did you get 5?" And I said, "Because I watched the Muppet Christmas Carol, and Marley's played by the 2 Grumps, so there's 5." And that got a laugh, but Bob Marley's probably a better laugh than that. So
right.
You can have that one for free.
Listen, guys. I can feel my tummy rumbling. I'm going to have to get going. Anyway, that is almost 2 hours. So I think we're going to wrap it up. So listen, guys. Thank you very, very much to everybody that's watched this tonight, and thank you, Dale, for joining me.
No, thank you so much.
Okay,
guys.
take care, guys.
Bye bye.
Cheers, boys. Bye.